Let's get into our discussion now. Now, many have argued that restructuring remains the solution to Nigeria's many problems and issues associated with insecurity, separatists, agitations, and poverty have been on the front burner for a long time. And stakeholders say something must be done to hold the fabric of nationhood together. So joining me now to make sense of this on Skype is a senior pastor at the Trinity House Church, Pastor Ighodalo. Pastor Ighodalo, it's good to have you join me this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning. How are you?
Very fine. All right. Now, one of your recent videos went viral. You were talking about several things. One of them was the issue of let us tell each other the truth about what is going on, like calling a spade where it's supposed to be. But let's get into the challenges we have right now. Nigeria remains a country that a lot of people see as a country with a lot of capacity, a lot of what it takes, a lot of resources, especially when it comes to intelligence and human resources. But when it comes to taking that decisive action to translate that intelligence and capacity into the prosperity for Nigerians, it seems we're losing it by the day. What do you make of this? What do you think is at the crux of this?
Well, the essential thing really is that Nigeria just has not been blessed on a consistent basis with truthful, forthright, passionate, compassionate leaders who are really determined to serve the people and make Nigeria better for every single Nigerian. They are not just available, and we have not just been fortunate to get leaders like that. And what really takes the biscuit is the complacency with which most of us have accepted this situation as though it is a usual or normal situation. Everybody knows what is good, everybody knows what is right, but I think the level of greed and selfishness, maybe the cost of getting into office, either military or politically, is so high that the leaders go there and they think of themselves first. And if you are thinking of yourselves first, it is almost impossible to think of the common good of others. And what has become really, really tough is that these people now think that this is a birthright and that they are the only ones and their group and club who have a right to leadership in Nigeria. And nobody else should even think of coming near that space. And it is what they say and what they do that should go on. And this is the main challenge with Nigeria. And because they control so much resource and have so much influence, and everybody at one time or the other has to approach them for either protection or gratification, or even to provide service, normal service that will help other people. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's afraid. And any comment made is viewed as a criticism, as an act of disloyalty, or this or that or the other one. But really, that is not the issue. The issue is that there's more than enough for everybody in Nigeria, and Nigeria must be great again, and we must be servant leaders and not leaders that dominate the people. And all we're saying is free the people, free the economy, let everybody have room to try and make something out of this nation and out of the destiny that God has provided.
All right. Now, I recall about 4 decades ago, Nigeria was that country that many other countries were looking up to, especially beyond the African continent. We recall countries like India that were pallying with Nigeria, in fact, looking up to Nigeria in some instances, Brazil, Malaysia, and all of that. But all that has become history now, where Nigeria is not at that league anymore. But at what point did you think we got it wrong?
To be honest, I think when the military came in 1966, it truncated the natural development and evolution of Nigeria. The founding fathers had fought for independence. They had planned for it. they had trained for it, they had been schooled for it, they had related with the so-called colonial masters, who themselves did not have a really good and sincere design for Nigeria in the first place, because they designed Nigeria, albeit Africa, to fail. What we're seeing really is the foundation, the results of the foundation that they carefully laid, and the booby traps that they set for the unsuspecting African. But nonetheless, 60 years after independence, our eyes should have opened that our enemy is not ourselves. Our enemies are these people who never really wanted us to survive in the first place. So in 1966, that coup truncated a prepared leadership. So you can imagine somebody who had been trained to fly a 747. He had just started flying it, getting a bit of experience here and there. Suddenly, he's grounded, okay? And then somebody just fresh out of flight school, or even has not completed flight school, takes over the reins of piloting that plane. You can imagine the disaster that's waiting to happen. And I think that's really what happened. A whole bunch of leaders were put aside, okay, put into storage, as it were, and people who were not really trained or schooled in leadership took over leadership of Nigeria, and they started to fumble through the cracks and left off the various master plans and changed fundamentally the structure on which we agreed to come together as a nation. The regional structure that they had agreed to, that they had practiced for, that they had prepared for, that they had set up structures for, they changed that structure overnight, and the center could no longer hold, and the basis of development was totally destroyed and eroded. And it went on and on and on like that until today, because the structure on which Nigeria was formed has never really been put back together again. And we've just been struggling since then.
Now, some have argued that restructuring is the solution to the challenges we have right now. And others have said that even if you restructure Nigeria to have the legal of this and the structure of this and the organization of this and that, but the people with the mindset remain the same, that nothing is going to change. What do you make of this?
Well, restructuring or putting in the policies that will ensure the even development of Nigeria, or development of Nigeria and its resources along the paces that people can cope with, will trigger off something, It's not going to happen overnight. Nobody's looking for an overnight miracle. But when people begin to think differently and look at opportunity differently and look at what to do differently, then people will begin to react. It's exactly what we did with telecom. For many years, we were loaded with Nitel that couldn't provide service. But when the Obasanjo government was able to change the thinking of the people, and people jumped into telecom because the environment was provided, it took about 5 years, but bit by bit, they began to get it right. And that happened overnight, is that the processes should be put together, especially for the development of the resources of Nigeria. This issue where the federal government, or they have the federal list that owns all the resources, and the federation or the federal government does not have the interest or the capacity to develop those resources, is totally unacceptable. We must allow those who are interested, including outsiders, to come in and help us develop the resources that we have, so that we can produce them, we can add value to them, we can export them, and earn considerable foreign exchange from these resources. It's very important. It is key. Call it whatever you like, restructuring or resource development law or whatever it is, call it what you like. But it is not fair or acceptable that you have bitumen in the ground in Ondo State, you have coal in Enugu, you have granite in Kogi and Kwara State, you have soya bean, sesame seed all over the place, and those things are not developable because there's a law that restricts the development. Even the groundnut pyramids of Kano and so on and so forth have not been encouraged to go back to those fields and develop them. The cotton fields that we had in people have not been encouraged to go back. People have just been encouraged to focus along the lines of oil and only oil, not even gas. Okay. And this oil is a wasting resource. And we all cannot depend on oil. There are countries that don't have any oil and they're doing exceedingly well. And in the 60s, we didn't have that much oil and we were okay. So what happened? Okay. Why is it just a question of taking out the oil, not adding value to it, and just dividing the spoil? And that's all everybody's waiting for in Nigeria. And this really is part of the bane of the problem. And the people who are in power are so afraid of losing control over that oil because the money coming out of it is so much that they don't have the courage and the simplicity and the understanding to know that why are you bothering yourself with one golden egg when you have about 32 or 40 potential golden eggs and you want to tear that egg apart? This is really where it is. It's just the fear of, are we going to lose control when we lose the law over oil? You can stagger it and say the people of the South, over the next 10 years, we begin to reorganize the oil allocation so that eventually you will get a lot more of it and others can develop their resource. Maybe you give people time to catch up, whatever you want to do. But we must develop every single resource of Nigeria. We must look inwards to provide for ourselves. In terms of food, Nigeria should not import any food. In terms of medical care, by now, even with COVID, there should be some extraordinary hospitals in Nigeria. It's not rocket science. It's just equipping and providing facility and environment. The technical knowledge is available. Even in this day and age, there's telemedicine. Okay? Nigerians are some of the best doctors in the world. Why don't we have some of the best hospitals? The simple reason is that the environment to encourage the in medical care is just not there. And it's the same with education. It's the same with agriculture. Just not providing the right kind of environment because we're so myopic in our attitudes and we're so afraid. A few people are so afraid. And we need to just encourage them to stop being afraid. Besides, there's more than enough. And as I said, how much does a man need to live a decent life? You know, a lot of people have amassed and amassed and amassed and amassed. I have nothing wrong with people amassing, okay? But you must also use that amassment, excuse my French, to benefit others, to create employment, to create jobs in Nigeria for other people. And that's what we're saying. Let the money spread. Let it create employment. Let people get this thing. And don't take money that is not really yours. Don't take money that should go into healthcare and put it in your house in Dubai. It's not fair. It's not proper. It's almost wicked. Don't take money that should go to education, that should go to infrastructure, and use it to do a party, or use it to buy a house in London or a house in America that you go to once a year or twice a year. It is not fair. There are people who can go to school because you have bought a house in Dubai. It's not fair. It's their money. After all, if you've done a business, you've done a transaction, earn your commission. Okay? Do whatever you want with your commission. But when it's their wholesome money that belongs to them, it's not fair for you to just corner this money and just do whatever you want with it. That is really what we're trying to say. And we're trying to appeal to these people. Okay? Do your work. Let the work be done. So that the people that need to benefit from this work and need to improve their own lifestyles are given an opportunity to do so. This is generally what happens all over the world in what you call advanced and progressing countries. The right allocation of resources to the things that will bring development and economic improvement. This is what we're asking for in Nigeria. This is what we're pleading for. This is what we're begging for. This is what we're insisting. And for you to be able to do that, you must have the right kind of mindset. You know, what is wrong with a lot of our leaders is their mindset. Okay, they think that all you need to do is to get to power, take the money, share the money, and give the people a pittance as an excuse for sharing money. They have to change that mindset. It's not the appropriate mindset. It's not working for them themselves. Even the money they make, they really cannot enjoy it at the end of the day. So what is the point?
All right. It's okay. We often talk about the issue of potentials that Nigeria has in its human resources, in its natural resources, in its influence and clout and all of that. Before I let you go, can you talk to us, what would it take to get the kind of leaders that we all yearn for? Because that Nigerian that we're talking about will not fall from the skies. There are still people who are here, born and bred here, or maybe born anywhere, but they're Nigerians. What would it take to ultimately get those kind of leaders in a consistent basis so that we move from one level of progress to the other?
The first of all is for us to agree on the criteria of what that kind of leader should look like. Visionary, exposed, educated, compassionate, loves the people, wants to serve the people, has a servant's heart. When we have the criteria, okay, you are looking for a pilot for a plane, you have a criteria for that kind of person. When we understand it and we all accept it, let us go and look for the people who have that kind of criteria. A lot of them are hiding in places because based on that criteria, they've not been able to amass a lot of money over their lifetime. Others have escaped abroad because this environment did not allow that kind of criteria to survive. Let's go and look for them and then call them. It is the people that made David king. David did not say, I must be king by force. They looked for him. A man that can kill Goliath, a man that can lead the army, a man that is compassionate, a man that fears God and worships God. Let us go and make him king. If he has this kind of qualities and he has used it for himself, let him come and use it for our nation. So let's look for criteria, not just anybody who feels bold and brazen and wants to take it all. No. So, and if anybody who feels bold and brazen comes up, we then simply ask him, this is our criteria. Do you fit this criteria, or are you willing to change to fit this criteria? So we know it is the criteria that threw out Donald Trump. They tried him, but when they looked at his behavior, they said this man doesn't fit the criteria of the President of the United States of America. He's too loud, he's too brazen. So when we have criteria, then we do a search for these people and we encourage them to please come out and take up leadership at different levels. Some people may say I'm being idealistic, that no, you must offer yourself, you must, okay. So if we have the criteria, let us now tell these people, please offer yourself, come out and offer yourself, and let us see that you can do this job. It's like choosing an A team. If you have an A team in Nigeria right now, this place will change. It might take 10, 15, 20 years, but definitely will change. Is the A team that changed Singapore? Is the A team that is changing Dubai? Dubai was worse than Nigeria 40 years ago, but it's simply leadership. So we do that, and then we inform the generality of Nigerians that don't stop exchanging your livelihood for, because even the followership have become a little bit angry and incensed, and they don't care. Let the politician come, I will take their money. And I'll do whatever I want. I'll wait for them another 4 years. So the whole place has bred a group of very, very disgruntled, dissatisfied, even wicked to themselves, because they too want to deal with the politician. Bring his money. I'll take his money. I will carry the vote ballot box. I will cause some mayhem. He can do whatever he likes when he gets to government, because I won't see him for another 4 years. That's the attitude of the general voting populace. So we have instituted a system that is going to eat up itself. The Bible says that if the blind lead the blind, they will fall into a ditch. And Nigeria is about to fall into a ditch. We cannot allow it. We must talk to ourselves. There's more than enough for everybody. So we inform the general populace that this is the criteria. this is the kind of person that will be better for you in the long run than the one that you take his money today and in 3 days, 1 month's time, you are broke again. And then you sit by the roadside, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for either the next riot or the next round of money sharing. For how long are you going to do that? Why don't you give somebody who will give you education and advance and give you empowerment rather than somebody who will give you money today and by next month it's over?
Hi, you have said so many things there that take home. There is enough to go around for everybody. And we hope that we have those kind of leaders where Nigerians can be proud of to translate that potential into prosperity. Thank you so much, Pastor Ighodalo, Senior Pastor, the Trinity House Church. Thank you for talking to us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.